Hello everyone. I've been slowly developing an idle game, where you travel across the land, slowly amassing an army of cute ladies and sometimes boys. I periodically update the game, extending the story, adding new characters and equipment. In the previous update, I introduced a dragon boss, which a number of people were having trouble with. Admittedly, it was intended to be a very difficult boss, but I figured I would take this opportunity to give a guide on how to defeat it. Before we start, however, I'll need to explain briefly how targeting works in this game. An enemy will typically target whoever is directly in front of it. If there is no one directly in front of it, it will have to attack one of the characters on either side. This does mean that if there is a character directly in front of it, but is behind someone who is partially covering that character in front of them, the enemy will have to go through the character in front before targeting the character in back. If there is no one in any of the lanes directly in front of the monster, they will search out horizontally until they find someone. This means that typically putting a tanky character in front will often protect both lanes directly behind it. However, if an enemy is far enough off to one side, they can still hit the character behind the tank. Each character has their own unique ability, and some of them let them circumvent these rules. Alia, for example, has an attack with an area of effect. She will use very standard targeting to find the enemy, but then every enemy directly next to that enemy will also be hurt. Cyan's attack will ignore an enemy standing off to one side, attacking the enemy directly in front of him even if it is partially covered. This brings us to the dragon. One of the things you will very quickly notice in this fight is if you have someone standing directly behind one of the tanks, they will die very quickly. That is because the dragon has an attack that deals damage to everyone in a vertical line. It uses standard targeting to find its target, but then everyone behind them is also damaged. This means that in making your formation, you're going to want nobody standing behind your primary tank. Here I have my primary tank directly in the middle and off tank directly to their left. Sophie, our only healer, is currently between the two of them. Tia is our tertiary tank who is standing off to the right-hand side where she will still be hit by Sophie's cures. The location of the rest of the characters isn't as important, but keep in mind that Alicia should have the cape equipped, which gives a damage buff to everyone directly next to her. You're going to want this to apply to Sophie, of course, for bigger heals and your two biggest damage dealers. I have Nep and Cyan in range, though Tia may also be a decent candidate. I've opted not to buff Alia because her damage is the lowest of the group. She does good area damage, but poor single target damage. Though in retrospect, I probably could have placed her to Alicia's left to get that buff. I have everyone equipped with the bunny suit, so they do more damage, except for our three tanks, who are wearing the half plate for better defense. Everyone is also using the steel weapons, because it is going to be the best damage, except for our three tanks, who benefit better from the axe. Alicia also has the poison sword equipped as opposed to the steel sword. Poison is very powerful, and you are going to want to make sure that that is applied to the dragon. If you really want to min-max your damage, you can hit the dragon once with the poison sword and then change her to the steel sword for better damage, but I found it wasn't necessary. From here, it's as simple as keeping an eye on your main tank's health and swapping them out for one of the other tanks when it gets too low. You do want to make sure that the tank does not die, because a dead tank is not doing damage. When all of the tanks get too low, you may still have to sacrifice a few of them. I even had Alicia tanking at the very end of the fight. Sophie's heals are of course going to be healing the main tank as they are taking damage, but it is also just as important that they are healing the off tank after they have been swapped out, so they can get their HP back up and rejoin the fight when able. And of course, before the fight, you want to make sure that all of your contracts are completed and all of your characters are at max level, which, at the time of the fight's release, was 150. Now, I do have a new update coming soon, if it is not out already, which is going to add new characters and increase the level cap, so this level of strategy will actually no longer be necessary. An extra 5 or 10 levels should make much easier work of the boss. I've also modified the dragon so it always spawns in the very center of the arena so you can more reliably prepare your team. And thanks for listening! If you want to actually play the game, there's a link in the video description. Otherwise, happy questing!